biggest challenge now that I've gone through a short film and a feature film from the scratch, I've done the whole journey with both the films, is I feel selling the film is actually the most challenging part.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Leisurely Baatein. My guest today needs no introduction. She is a multifaceted talent, acclaimed producer, founder of Loudspeaker Media, and a person who's doing so much for independent cinema. Without further ado, let me welcome Mauli to Leisurely Baatein. Mauli, welcome to Leisurely Baatein. How are you doing?
I'm good, and thank you for the lovely introduction and having me, on the show, because I've never done this before. I have only, as a publicist, I've only scheduled interviews with all my filmmakers and clients, and I've stayed away from this. But it's a pleasure being here and talking to you.
I will take the credit of encouraging and motivating you to come in front of the camera. Now, it's such an honor for me. Thank you so much. Mauli, before, there are lots of things that I would like to understand and also, speak on behalf of a lot of independent filmmakers, But let me start first by asking you, please share with us a little bit about Loudspeaker Media, where you're doing such a great service, to the world of independent cinema, which is extremely important. So, that's something we would like to start with. Talk us through about what work you're doing in Loudspeaker Media. How can people reach out to you?
Loudspeaker Media is an independent, marketing and PR firm. It's a boutique firm, and I started it in 2013 by, it was an accident, a happy accident. I was always passionate about cinema, and I was a journalist before I turned publicist for 6-7 years in Bombay. And then one fine day, I started this company because I just felt that there wasn't anybody promoting independent cinema, and I felt very special about it. And so it all happened organically. I started with a film called BA Pass in 2013, and the campaign went very well. And it was a very random meeting with the director. He was very unhappy. He had worked with the best of the publicists, big companies, and he was very unhappy with the way his experience was. And he came to me and he said, within 5 minutes, he spoke about something, and I said, but I don't do controversial stuff. And he was like, yes, that's exactly what I want. I want my film to be promoted in a dignified way. The essence, it was an erotica.
Yeah, I've seen the movie.
Erotic film, BA Pass. And he said, it's not a sleazy film, and I want somebody to understand the soul of the film and to position it in that sense. And I'm a film buff. I saw it, I loved the film, and I was like, yes, this is something I think I can do. And there was no prior training. All I had was my experience as 6-7 years as a journalist. And in those 7 years, my experience with the kind of publicists that I had dealt with wasn't so great. And I was like, I don't want to be anything that I have come across. How do I do it? And I think I just followed my heart. So Loudspeaker Media is now 8 years old boutique company, and we've promoted more than, I have no count, but maybe more than 100 plus documentaries and independent films. Some of the best, indie gems that have come out in the last 8 years, whether it's Masan or whether it is Newton or Tithi or Titli or Village Rockstars or Bulbul Can Sing or Bombay Rose, very, very, new voices from India. And I've been fortunate, to work with them as a publicist, including Court, which I didn't finish, but I was associated with the campaign for the first 2 months. But it's been a great journey, and one thing led to the other. I've also promoted, a lot of festivals from India, whether it is IFFI or Film Bazaar. I was their publicist for I handled marketing and PR for them for the last 7 years. Dharamshala Film Festival, IFLA, so a lot of festivals.
Right.
and independent films. Also studios like I worked with Ritesh Batra when he was setting up his company, or with Jar Pictures, or with Drishyam Films. I profiled, the company profiled Drishyam Films and Mr. Mundra for the first 3 years. And and then I was like, oh yeah, I mean, everybody knows it. They don't need me. And it's all passion for cinema, I think, where it comes from.
Right. No, it's very evident, and where did this, love for independent cinema originate in you? And is there a voice that you want to represent?
It originated very early in life. I think thanks to my mother, she was the one who introduced me to great cinema when I was a young girl in 90s. And but I grew up on she used to watch a lot of cinema from 70s and 80s.
Right.
So I grew up on, Rishikesh Mukherjee and Gulzar and, Shyam Benegal. I used to watch those late night films with her, and she was very heavily into music. Right. So I've grown up on all kinds of ghazals, music. Also because from Punjab, I've grown up on very, very beautiful folks music from Punjab. Right. I've grown up on Pakistani music and ghazals and old Hindi songs, film songs. So I think it all started very early in life. And I didn't know. I was very active in theatre. I was very active as a folk dancer and folk singer all through my school and college life. I think I've spent most of my time outside of the classroom. My attendance was not more than maybe 10-20%. And my teachers, I would hear all kinds of things, but they would laugh it off because they would know कि ये last में आती है पर pass हो जाती है. 60% ले लेती है, लेकिन they knew that I was an absentee in the class because I was doing many other things outside of the class in extracurricular. So I think love started there. And it just when I came to Bombay, I started as a of course working in a production house, but very soon I switched to journalism where I was writing about films. And then I started my company which was also promoting films. Then I produced films. So I think the films and cinema has been at the core of it.
Right. And you've been involved in some very iconic projects, some of the names that you mentioned early on. Apart from that, some of the names when I was going through your list of projects also includes projects like Once Upon a Time in Kolkata, Jonaki. Great films, very different type of genre of films. Bhosle is one of my favorites, specifically looking into the cinematography. It's so challenging in that film. Then Aparna Sen's latest, The Rapist, Village Rockstars, obviously Rima Das, one of my inspiration in filmmaking. Apart from Ajit Pal, and then some great short films, which we enjoyed, like Khujli and Kheer and.
I've worked a lot with TTT. I've worked a lot with Hamara, and I have also done Kanu Behl's short film. Chintu, I'm forgetting the name. Binnu Ka Sapna. I don't know. Chintu is another film. Binnu Ka Sapna. So, which was a film that I really loved. So, yes, I have promoted shorts, features, documentaries, books, and of course, film festivals, film markets. Screenwriting labs as well. I worked with Sundance lab when they were in partnership with Drishyam, and of course NFDC lab as well, Screenwriters Labs. So yes, I've worked on all sides of it as a publicist, and that's where I think the training happened, and that's why where the inspiration came, to do something more than promoting films, and that's where the bug bit me at Film Bazaar.
Right. But how difficult, is it to work on or promoting slightly offbeat subjects, because if I look into a film like Jonaki, it is not for everyone, I mean, there are abstractism, if you look into Once Upon a Time in Kolkata, very different. Whereas Village Rockstars is, it's like an essay. It's so simple, and then makes you feel that how difficult it is to make something so simple. How difficult. I mean, my question is more to understand that what's your approach of work? Because you seem to work on, very offbeat, sometimes like very different form of cinema.
Basically, of course, it's more challenging to promote films which have no stars and which are high on content. But, because I started with a good film, and my journey has been such that I have said no to a lot of films which I didn't connect with. I'm a fool like that. I've let go work where I didn't connect with it, and I didn't feel that it's a content that I relate with, and if I don't relate with it, I will not be able to promote it in a convincing way with conviction. So I think I've, over the years, sort of built a network of journalists who are also film buffs, who are always looking out for a piece of a well-crafted film that they can write about. They are also film enthusiasts. So, and that has happened gradually because I've only promoted certain kind of films, and hence I've built that network. And yes, it is very difficult to promote independent films because they have no money. They have no money to pay me. They have no money to do social media. They have no money to buy ads. They can't promote. They can't put up buy a ad in Bombay Times. So they have no budgets like that. So there is no paid promotion. And even for the publicists, they have very, very small budget. So that has been really challenging. And when you have a star in the film, you have to just manage press. It's not a struggle to get
the eyeballs.
Article out. The struggle here is that I work much harder to get even that one story out, and but I think that's also been the joy, and that is why I've been very carefully I've curated the films I've promoted.
Very well said. Very well said. It's like when you mentioned I curated, there's a certain sense of belonging that comes out.
I have not promoted every film which has come my way. I have picked what I could connect with, and because I know that I know certain kind of press, and first I'm an audience. If I feel that okay, this is something I like, so I know that this is something I can confidently pitch to a certain section of media, and I know that they will be excited about it and they'll write about it. And also when your films when it's a great film but has no stars, but if it also goes to a good festival, a lot of campaigns that I've done is, whether the films are at Sundance or Cannes or Venice, Locarno, Berlinale, when you have a great premiere, it also becomes easier to pitch it to a certain kind of press, because these are very prestigious festivals to premiere with, so then the press knows, they are already excited about it.
Right.
So the challenge is when I'm approached with films which don't have any such premieres.
Right.
But in that sense, if it's great, I have picked up films like that also, which have not premiered in one of the biggest festivals. But I felt it was a great film, and it was difficult to push it, even more difficult to push it. But I've had fun doing those kind of projects too. But it is very exhausting, I must say.
Right. And I think the way you explained it and whatever you said, I think would be music to a lot of upcoming indie filmmakers who are looking, for these kind of support. And it will be really good. I mean, I'll put your details in terms of how to reach out to your email address and your LinkedIn profile if people would be interested, to reach out to Loud Media for assistance. Because I think the making is there, but people often don't know how to distribute or take it forward. So that's very, very important. So very well explained.
So I also want to say that, this is also my livelihood. Sure. And why it is frustrating is because it's difficult to sustain myself with that little money. Like a lot of people come to me saying, will you help me? But I was like, but if I help you, I need some money. Who will help me to survive?
Exactly.
I've made this choice. There are not many people who are promoting independent cinema the way I do. So, but if you want me to do it for free, then it's not possible for me to sustain.
Absolutely.
So, they don't, what I feel is in the last 8 years of my experience as a publicist, I've realized that there is little value. There's not much value for, what a publicist can do, and how the profiling helps all these filmmakers to get much more work. It gives them visibility, so that is something they don't realize, that it's a very important investment. They don't keep enough money to promote their films. They, and a lot of times I feel that they feel कि फिल्म बना ली, काम खत्म हो गया, उसको प्रमोट करना होता है, क्यों करना होता है, या उसको फेस्टिवल्स में भेजना होता है. There is no overall vision. A lot of filmmakers come to me, call me, and then not able to help them because they premiered in a very random festival. They don't realize कि PR कब करना चाहिए. मतलब वो suddenly phone करके मुझे बोलेंगे PR कर दो. तो I said, but is your film is premiering somewhere? Is it releasing on OTT platform? Is it coming out somewhere? They don't understand the concept of PR. Right. PR doesn't happen out of the blue. There are milestones in the journey of a film. Whether the film is premiering in a festival, whether the film has won an award, whether the film is coming out on an OTT platform, these are the milestones. These are the opportunities, golden opportunities, where you can do great PR and sort of create maximum awareness about your film and yourself. Tell your story, that what's been your journey as a filmmaker. And as a publicist, I think I've focused a lot on the journeys of these filmmakers.
Right.
I've built my objective always is that I find a narrative in everybody's journey. Everybody's journey is unique. Like today, everybody knows that Reema Das is a producer, director, editor, this, that, is because I built that narrative and I kept pushing it out. Exactly. So I find there are all these amazing narratives, unique narratives to every filmmaker's journey.
Absolutely.
And one has to find that.
Absolutely. Very, very important and very well articulated, Mauli, which leads me to my next question that, you've been amazing. You've done amazing work as a producer. Some great, work. If you look into one of my, favorite films, which I often reference as, from a learning perspective, and you helped me watch it, Fire in the Mountains, Rammat Gammat short film.
You saw that?
Yes, I saw that in Mubi, Mubi.com.
Oh, nice.
And, wonderful, films. And these partnerships, these thought-provoking work you've done in partnership with Ajit, Mr. Ajit Pal Singh. My question is, how did you discover each other?
We discovered each other. Actually, we in I think 2014 we met in person in 2015 in November. He was messaging me. He was this struggling filmmaker. I had not seen any work of him, and we were Facebook friends because I was a journalist. I was not very discreet at that time because मैं journalist थी, तो मुझे कोई भी filmmaker कोई भी ad करता था, friend request भेजता था, मैं ad कर लेती थी because we were always looking for news and more people and connections. Right? So he was my Facebook friend. I don't know how. And what I remember is कि उन्होंने अजीत ने एक बार कुछ फेसबुक पे पोस्ट डाला था that he was looking for funds for his short film.
Right.
And I responded to that to help him out. I tried to put him in touch with somebody who I thought could help him with the funds. So that's my first memory with him. And then we met in 2015 November, and he just landed up at Film Bazaar.
Right.
his film जो कि अभी तक बनी नहीं है, माउंटेन मैन, वो उस टाइम पे उसके पॉसिबिलिटी हो रही थी कि वो बनेगी. तो he asked me whether he should come to Film Bazaar, and I was like, yeah, it's a great place to network. If you think कि तुम्हारी फिल्म बनने वाली है, come and network for your film. But his intention was something else. So he came there, and we hooked up. He completely wooed me at 2015, and cinema I think was the main connection. Also, I think he's a certain kind of a person, I'm a certain kind of person. I think we vibed, we were on the same wavelength as human beings also.
Right.
We had the same dreams. We liked the same kind of cinema. We liked the same kind of music, and there was a lot of humanity and goodness in him.
Right.
I don't even know how it happened. If you ask me, really, he just charmed me.
That's how magic happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I mean, obviously, the body of work you both have done, and then most recently, which has made Ajit and you more visible, is Stubbor.
Yeah.
And how has life changed for both of you after that?
See, it's more for him because he's the director of Stubbor. I am just the publicist and his wife. I have just seen the whole journey. I feel I was very big part of it because he was so unwell when he made it, and then life was taking a different turn for us.
Right.
So I have seen the back. I was there to see what's happening behind the scene.
Right.
I saw his resilience. I saw how he made it happen and how he just went after it. So I feel very happy for him because he literally risked his life to make this series. He put everything else on hold. But still, we didn't expect so much love that Stubbor has received. So it's overwhelming in a way for both of us. But we are still grappling with the health issues, and there are lots going on, on this side. For him, life is. I'm hoping that there is more now. There is people are willing to meet him. So I think he's in a better place in terms of finding a better project. More freedom,
Yes.
more freedom to make what he wants to make.
Correct.
And money to make what he wants. Because Fire in the Mountains, we made it with very little money, and Stubbor also, he was a full-time director. There are many restrictions and limitations, and you have to compromise on so many things.
Correct.
When you make your first feature or your first series, now I feel that changes for him.
Right.
And for me, that gives me more freedom to probably pursue my own things, because I've been supporting him in the last 6 years,
Right.
since we've known each other, because he was an independent struggling filmmaker, really not so now I think that pressure is off me.
That's good. Wonderful.
I'm hoping that he'll take charge, and I'll have more freedom to do what I really want to do.
Absolutely. Wonderful. I think more power to both of you and more power to him. And I'm sure there are so many people praying for him and waiting to see good work coming out from him. And also both of you, back in the groove. Mauli, what I wanted to ask you is, being in this whole independent cinema circuit as a producer, taking through the journeys, and Fire in the Mountains, when I watched it, two things that really stuck out. One was the phenomenal casting. of the film. Phenomenal casting and the locales, and I'm sure it must have been very challenging to shoot. But my question is not more from the production part of it, but you made the film. That's the labor of love of a filmmaker and the team. They'll go any extent to tell that story. You've told the story. But my question is, to you as a producer, what is more difficult? Raising fund or to market the film to the audience?
Well, marketing comes naturally to me because I've been doing it for the last 8 years and I have been in media for the last 12, 13 years. So that comes more naturally to me. And I've had a lot of fun marketing all the films with Ajit and all the other films that I've marketed. The most challenging part is to make an independent film with absolutely no budget. So when we started, the budget was too little, and I also tried to raise money. I was able to raise 50% money for Fire in the Mountains, but later on, it wasn't required, because JAR said they'll be able to manage on their own. Initially, there was absolutely no money. So the stress of how will you pull off a film, because a film is not made just like that. You need good crew. You need a good camera. You need good sound design. You need all of that, and wonderful technicians. So the challenging part is to keep the budget in place and to be able to maximize it in terms of getting the best technicians on board and motivating them to give their best. Right. Because लोग थक जाते हैं, लोग इतना independent films में favors लेते हैं और देते हैं कि they don't care. It's your first project and it's your passion project. They don't know unless you have delivered. जब Fire in the Mountains आई थी तो सिर्फ रमत गमत था. तो रमत गमत के basis पे how many people you can you can pull in to be part of your dream. So I think that was the challenging part, and of course raising money is very challenging as well. And I think the biggest challenge now that I've gone through a short film and a feature film from the scratch, I've done the whole journey with both the films, is I feel selling the film is actually the most challenging part. तुम कर के मतलब पैसे फिर भी कहीं ना कहीं से ले आओगे, and if you're from a film school तो तुम technicians भी ले आओगे, लेकिन तुम फिल्म बना लोगे, लेकिन मार्केट भी मतलब अगर फिल्म बहुत अच्छी बनी है तो मार्केटिंग अच्छी नहीं भी होगी. तो इफ यू कैन जस्ट सिक्योर वन गुड वर्ल्ड प्रीमियर, एक डिसेंट फेस्टिवल में अगर आपका वर्ल्ड प्रीमियर हो जाएगा तो थोड़ी बहुत विजिबिलिटी हो जाएगी, लेकिन you won't be able to sell the film. And I have seen so many films. I have actually the most of the films that I have promoted, and this is the main benefit of having a publicist on independent film. The better it is promoted, the more chances of it to sell it. So most of the films that I've promoted are either on Netflix or on Amazon, or they had theatrical releases. They all found decent homes, and they were very, very independent films with nobody in them. So I think that is what independent filmmakers should realize, कि अगर आप PR करेंगे तो फिल्म आपकी बिकने के विजिबिलिटी बढ़ेगी तो all the industry, all the OTT platforms will also take notice of it now.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Selling is actually selling and raising money are the most challenging. I would still say selling is a very, very challenging part of it.
Right. So very well explained, and I think it will benefit a lot of aspiring filmmakers, including myself, as we were having a conversation before the start of the show. Mauli, we're almost towards the end of our show, and I've got one last question for you, which is very important for me to understand, is what inspires you in life?
What inspires me in life? I would say nature inspires me. Art forms, any kind of art form, whether it's music, cinema, dance, art in all its forms inspires me. And I would say resilience in people, and the journeys of people where, they've come up, in a very difficult circumstances where they beat all of that and put up a good fight. And are not defeated, and those kind of those things inspire me. Yeah, simplicity inspires me. There are many things that inspire me. I don't have a very intellectual answer for this, but yeah, smallest thing can inspire. A beautiful sunset can inspire. Yeah.